about content reuse. Imagine you have hundreds of documentations, maybe user manuals, installation guides, whatever, or a large knowledge base, and you have specific content that is reused many, many times across your documentations. That could be, for example, a specific warning section or a specific legal notice, or maybe it's just the contact data table. Of course, you could just recreate this content every time, or you could just copy and paste content from one manual into the other. But still you will have the problem that this content might change over the time in one or the other manual. Someone is noticing an error, maybe a typo, maybe just a single full stop that is missing, whatever. And over the time, these content components become separated from each other. They are not the same anymore. And now imagine at one point maybe the legal department comes and says, oh, could you please update that legal section in every document across all your 200 documentations that we have? Or maybe marketing comes and says, oh, we have that contact data table there. Could you please update the phone number in all these 300 manuals that we have? And then you have a problem. But it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to change content across 300 manuals, because you can use a clever concept, what you call content reuse, by using content references. Let me show how that works. I have a data map open here, very simple one, with two topics, about Adobe and about Adobe content references. Let me put them next to each other. So the right one is still empty. This is where we'll be using content references. And this one here on the left is just a long topic with just pure editable text. So I have my text about Adobe, changing the world, another paragraph, and I can just edit that content, very simple. I can change the phone number here, and the legal notices, it's for next year, and so on. So it's just a normal editable topic, and if you look into the source code of that, you will see that it's really just pure content in XML. The problem with that is, if I have, for example, this part of legal notices in 300 manuals, and I need to update them in 300 manuals then, which can become a huge amount of effort. So how can we do that in a better way? What I have in my repository here is I've created a resources folder with reusable content modules. These reusable content modules contain all the content chunks that I want to reuse in other documentations. And the advantage of that is I have that single source of truth now where I can maintain my content that is then reused in 300 documentations. And I will insert my components into these other documents. And when I update them, they will update automatically in all my 300 documentations. I just need to republish them basically without actually searching for 300 documentations. I will not show you 300 documentations in this demo, but you get the idea. So here in this document, I have an outline view. And as you will see, I have created multiple sections. A section interest, a section contact, a section about Adobe, a section with a legal notice, and a section with product-specific notices with a long list of links and hyperlinks to the legal content pages on adobe.com. So these are all small individual content chunks, so to say, so small sections. And if I look into the source code, I see they're just sections with an ID. A section called contact, a section called about Adobe, legal notices, product-specific legal notices, and interest. So these are the 4 sections. I call that a boilerplate template where I have just added all this content. And now, instead of just creating my content in this documentation, or maybe copy and pasting it and having it separately living from each other, in this right topic here about Adobe in brackets content references, I will pull in the content that is in my boilerplate template, in this one. And I keep them both open just so that you see the difference between that. And before I do that, I would just check. Yeah, okay. So I select my content here where I want to insert my content reference. And I go to this icon here, Insert Reusable Content. I click on that. And then I select this topic here where all my reusable components are in my resources folder. Select this one, and I get all the sections listed with all the components that I have in this document, like about Adobe, contact data table, interest, legal notices, and the long list of product-specific notices. So I just start with inserting that specific component from that specific boilerplate template, and I start with interest. We appreciate your interest in our company, etc. I click select, and it's inserted. You will notice that this text here is now in blue, and that gives me the indication it's a content reference. And that is a reusable content. Now, after that section here, I can add more sections. I just need to be sure that I'm at the right position. And I insert another one, like my contact data table. I click that one. And then I insert about Adobe. And after that, I insert my section legal notices at the bottom. And I could also put in here my product-specific data. You see, I've always get that preview here so that I can be sure that I'm actually selecting the right content chunk here that I want to insert. I don't need to have all of them in one component content module here, but for me, I like this idea of having it all together in one place for this demo, so I use the section concept here. And let me add this one as well. So now I have a long document where I have all these different sections, but they are actually not in the document itself. Think of it like a graphic, like an image that is somewhere located on your folder, and you're inserting it into maybe an InDesign document or a FrameMaker document or maybe a RoboHelp topic. And whenever you change that graphic, it will update in your document as well. Just in this case, we don't have that concept for graphics. We have it for content, for basically every kind of content that has an ID. And if I go to the source code view of that topic here, you will see none of the text that is displayed is actually there. It's just a section with a so-called conref attribute. And this conref attribute tells our system, oh, please look into this specific data file with this specific topic ID and there into the interest section. And in that interest section here, when you look at that, yeah, that's the section with the ID interest. And this is referenced here. So basically it's like a graphic reference for a linked graphic, just that it's not a graphic in this case. It's a piece of content that is located somewhere in this other document, in my reusable content modules document. Let's go back to the author view. And now let's assume that worst case scenario, that our colleagues come and say, oh, could you please change in all your 300 documentations this one sentence? Because it's saying changing the world through experiences, but it should actually be changing the world through digital experiences. Because Adobe is a company that produces products for the digital world. and creates digital experiences. So I change that just once in my reusable content, and the next time I open my map document here, it will automatically get updated and I have digital experiences. And that is one super powerful thing because whenever I create these content references, they point to my single source of truth in my repository with my reusable content modules. And I can insert this module about Adobe in all my documentations, and I just have to edit it in this one single document, and it will get updated in all the documents that I have. This is called a content reference. Another way of reusing content is key refs. So here I have about Adobe. Let's assume our company name changes at one point and it's no longer called Adobe but Microsoft. Okay, unlikely, but let's just assume that for a second at least. And now I would need to go through all my documentations, all my websites, all my product manuals, and all my legal content and change Adobe to the new company name. And that again would be a massive effort. This rebranding effort could easily take weeks or even months to identify all the places where just the company name is used. Now imagine you would have a system like Adobe Experience Manager Guides where you have just a reference to the company name. I remember that a long time ago we always wrote Adobe Inc. Until it was changed to be just Adobe. Now imagine what kind of rebranding effort that was. I can change that by insert a keyword. And I have a keyword here called company name with a value Adobe. So I just replace that. And now, as you can see in the breadcrumbs, it's suddenly a keyword. Let me show you that in the source code. Here I have, let me actually do it like this, then it becomes more clear. I have a keyword element with a key ref company name. This is coming from this key ref in my map. I could also put that somewhere else in a central map that is the single source of truth then for all my whole content of my whole company. But here I have it as a key ref just to this key company name in my user guide. So when I go to the author view, I see it slightly different formatted here in a small font so that I can easily recognize it as a key ref. And whenever this key ref will change, it will also change automatically here. Let me go into this data map and go into this key def here. And I have it here, Adobe. And let's assume and be evil, we would be bought by Microsoft. Let's hope that will not happen. Then I can go my content reference and you will see it's automatically updated to about Microsoft. And of course we don't want that, so I change that back to Adobe. Save my data map, go back here, and now the world is great again about Adobe. So these are two ways to reuse content: key refs and content references. There's another third way of doing that, and this is a little bit different because it's a different use case. Let's assume you're always creating some content where you have a couple of sentences that are usually always the same, but you don't want to have it in a central place. You just want to have it as a small snippet that you can insert and then change without being connected with that single source of truth document. This is another possibility we have here. We call that snippets. And these snippets are basically small content pieces like this one. We appreciate you're interested. It's the title, description for myself, and some data XML. Let me put that in here and say, I would have something like hello world. That's the title of my snippet. I call it like that. Welcoming a new user. And I just insert a simple paragraph like, hello, name, or probably not like this. And I create that snippet. And from now on, I can use that snippet in all my documentations when creating content. And I can just drag and drop it and place it somewhere down here. Just need to have a placeholder here. Okay, I need to be more precise where I have to add that. Here. I couldn't just place a paragraph in a paragraph. Now I have that content here, hello, with that placeholder name, thanks for your interest in our company. And I can just select that and say, hello, Stefan, thanks for your interest in our company. So think of these snippets as small content templates that you can use to create or just put in a block of content that you can just edit then after inserting it. It will not be connected to that snippet repository, but it will be editable, and you can change it and continue working on it and modifying it and changing it. It's not a content reference like these non-editable content blocks here. When I try to edit that here, it will tell me it's read-only content. You cannot just edit it. You have to edit it in the in the source, in the reusable content, and that's, for example, here in my reusable content modules document that I've created. Here I can edit that content. So these are 3 ways of reusing content in Adobe Experience Manager guides. I can use keyrefs, for example. I can use keywords. I can use content references and reference content from a single source of truth repository in all my documentations. Or I can just pull in specific content from somewhere completely from a completely different place, and I can use snippets as small content templates that I can edit and change. So these are the 3 ways to reuse content in Adobe Experience Manager guides. Quick introduction to that. Thanks for your interest and thanks for watching, and let us know if you have any questions about that, and write to us at techcom@adobe.com.